read everything from textbooks, try to use it, is people wouldn't understand. With the Japan Language Factory, every little phrase I learned, I can use.
So DeShaun, welcome to my YouTube channel. How you feel?
Thank you for having me. I feel really good. It's nice outside, so I feel really good.
Great. So everybody, don't know you at all. So that's why I would like to ask you, where are you from?
I'm from Boston, and yeah, grew up in the Northeast and never really traveled much other
Mm-hmm.
than before I joined the military.
Mm-hmm. Is it Boston? Is it more city life or like countryside life you're used
Boston is
to?
definitely more city. So in Boston, it's very they're known for like the colleges and obviously the Red Sox and all the famous teams that we have, and it's very fun. Like I always enjoy it. I love it. Boston strong, and it's similar to like a New York on a smaller scale. So New York is huge, but on like a
Mm.
smaller scale. But it's a big city and a little expensive.
Mm-hmm. So the 9 years ago when you arrived Japan, what was like a huge impact? Wow, this is something I never expected in my life in the States. Something super different. If you pick up one, what was a huge impact on you?
So my first time come my when I first got to Japan, my first thought is, wow, everybody is really nice, because coming
Mm.
from the Northeast specifically, it's so work. No one talks to you. It's not as friendly. And then I come to Japan and everyone's really nice. It's like clean, really safe, and it just kind of blew my mind, and I didn't think it was real. I'm like, why is everyone so nice? What's the catch? What's going on? But then I realized, oh, okay, that's actually the culture. That's actually how it is. And so I would say people being nice and how nice they were. First thing that stood out to me when I first came to Japan. Everyone it just smiles and just everyone was so nice, and it was definitely a culture shock.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Amazing. So
Yeah.
like it's been 9 years. Like what was something you really like most? And then what was the difficulty this 9 years?
So the 9 years I've been in Japan, I would say what I like the most, again, it goes back to the culture, because
Mm.
even in America, the Northeast is a different type of culture than the rest of America. So just coming from that environment to Japan, like from my daily life, going to the store or just going out, hanging out by the beaches or anything, it's the community, the people, especially when they see that, that, yeah, I'm a nice guy, and I try to, what a little bit of, I try to learn some broken Japanese, which never
Mm-hmm.
worked, but they see and they're like, oh, like they're just very friendly. I've gone places, and just by being nice to people, I've had drinks bought for me just because of just being nice, So it was
Mm.
the big thing that I would take away for the last 9 years is just being humble and
Mm.
appreciating everything around you, like appreciating life and understanding that, you know, there are nice people in the world.
I'm sure you frustrated for this 9 years, but so this 9 years, like what you have tried to, learn Japanese, usually people, start from some school or like textbook, some YouTube, but what kind of experience you had this 9 years?
So it's been embarrassingly painful 9 years when it comes to learning Japanese, just because, especially at an older age, I understand that as a kid, it's easier to learn different language. So at an older age, I tried to learn with an English mind to try to, all right, in English, this is how I would say it. So when you say the same way using Japanese, but it's a completely different sentence structure. So it's been tough trying to learn it. And I've had everything from all the Genki books, every textbook to apps. I use like Japanese apps. Um, yeah, all kinds of anything I could find, I would try to use it,
Mm,
and I would I would be able to learn some very proper, structured Japanese, but whenever I would try to use people wouldn't understand,
mm,
and that became difficult because yes, I can look at the book, I can look at the apps, and try to read it that way, and I can't use it. It
mm,
doesn't teach you how to actually have the conversation, to
mm,
actually just talk with people and carry things on. And I always felt like, well, I'm not going to say it perfectly, so I don't know if I should try to say this,
mm,
because you don't want to look like you don't know nothing. If I go to try to talk to someone in Japanese and I just fumble across all of my words, you don't want to look, pretty much silly to people. And that's what
mm,
I was just nervous about, like, I don't want to look, like I don't know anything. I don't know it perfectly. So it was
mm.
between textbooks and apps, it's been a struggle for the 8 years. Like onesie, twosie words I picked up on, but as far as just a conversation, it
Mm-hmm.
was not, it seemed very far-fetched.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I totally understand. There's a lot of people actually, say the exactly same experience. They actually learn with the apps when they try to speak. Yes, like people are, oh, the reaction is like, oh. I always say this,
Yeah.
huh? Reaction is almost people are not understanding anything. That's why, oh.
Yeah.
So, DeShaun, like 9 years, you have been, tried to learn a little bit on and off, with language apps or maybe sometimes books. But what was the kind of trigger? Like, okay, I really want to change. And you switch your motivation to, start, What was
Yeah.
the trigger?
So my trigger that caused me to actually take it serious and really buckle down is it was because for the last 9 years, I met my wife who is Japanese, and we got married and we have 2 kids. But my wife, she speaks perfect English, and her mother is she was in college. She majored in English studies, so her mother
Mm,
spoke pretty good English as well. So I got comfortable with just speaking regular English to them and just picking up on onesie twosie words here and there. But my triggering moment was when I have friends out here who are American who are no longer military, but they're civilians out here, and they have lived out here for 10 plus, 20 plus, one of them 30 plus years. And when I talk to them about, yeah, so you must speak good Japanese. And they're like, oh, no, I don't know how to speak it. I'm like, how have you lived out here this long? And then it made me reflect on my own life and realize,
mm,
man, I've been out here this long. Like, I should have something more to show for it. And then my son, who's 4 now, who speaks fluent Japanese and English, I'm like, I want to be able to communicate with them as they get older. And also my my wife's family, like uncles, cousins, and stuff like that, just to be more to really be able to have those conversations, to really be able to feel comfortable around them, because not knowing Japanese, I can never really feel as comfortable as I want to be and just talk about life and different things like that. So my turning point was just seeing people and realizing I'm falling into the same trap that other people fall into, where you get too comfortable getting by with English. So then when I realized that, I was like, okay, something really has to change, and I really gotta focus on this. My plan is, once I'm done with the military, is to retire in Japan. And in order for me to live a comfortable life, I feel it's only right that I speak as fluent as I can get in Japanese, to really be able to get around and navigate and not need my wife to translate everything for me. And especially when it comes to business and different careers and different things like that, like in order, like I want to be able to own real estate out here and do different companies and stuff like that. But you're
Yeah.
not going to be able to get far if you don't speak the language.
Exactly. So yeah, you can do a lot of things. You have so many years to, even improve. Yeah, I've never imagined in my life that I can speak English and then can communicate so many people like, here. But, just if you do it every day, and you're going to definitely reach, that level. And especially you're going to stay another 20 or 30 years. So yeah, you can definitely do this.
Yeah, and that's the plan, is to just keep grinding and keep moving.
Exactly. So like you had this trigger, and then so you found our Japan Language Factory. How did you find us?
So I found the Japan Language Factory on Instagram. I was scrolling and it popped up, and just to be honest, it popped up at first. I was like, okay, that's nice, and kept scrolling. And then it popped up again. And then one of the videos that stuck out to me was your video that was talking about, reading textbooks is not going to help you speak the language, be able to communicate with people. And that is what stuck out to me, because that was the exact issue that I was having. It's like I'm wasting time in these textbooks, and I'm learning very slowly, and it's not helping, because when I go to use it, I don't use it right, and people don't understand me. So you kind of feel like, what's the point? But then when I seen your video pop up, and then I clicked on it and looked at another video, then I was like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this helps. This is way better way of learning. Like, it stuck to me, because I don't learn by reading textbooks. I learn more by speaking and I just doing and seeing, and just the action is where I learn more from. So that is what stood out most to me. That's what caught my eye.
Thank you so much for finding my video. So like you actually enrolled Japan Language Factory. How was this experience? I mean, just a few weeks you did it. And then every time when I see you, like you really have so much progress. And when I met you, almost you didn't speak anything confidently, even one phrase or two phrases. So what is your experience so far?
When I first started, I was nervous, because in your mind, you think, okay, is this going to be another situation where, all right, I'm going to try it and it won't work? But at the same time, this stood out to me more. So, and in the back of my mind, I have that thought of, you know what, you have to really buckle down, and you have to just take it serious. And so I jumped in, like, I'm all in, let's go. And especially the speaking to people is what was nerve-wracking at first, but it definitely helps me, because it does build up that inner confidence of, okay, so I can say it, I can speak to someone, and I don't feel silly if I mess it up, and I can be comfortable with practicing and learning. It was definitely a different adventure for me, something I haven't tried before, and I enjoyed it. It's so far. Just the phrases we go over in every lesson, every phrase we go over after the lesson is done, I'm excited about learning, and I still am about learning language, because every little phrase I learn, I can use in my daily life. So I think that's what really kept that motivation going too. And it's just, I would take it after the class is over, and I would just say it out loud over and over again, say it again, say it again, say it again, to the point where you can just say it without thinking it. And that was my way of studying with the Japan Language Factory, because I love the audio version of it too. The audio version that I get, I actually play it in my car. So I'm driving to work, and then I would have it on repeat. And then I'm just like, kind of, people look at me like I'm talking to myself, but so
it's okay. People can sing, the song. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I'm driving my car, and I have it playing in the background, and I'm just saying the phrases over and over again, saying it over and over again. And just so that way I get used to saying it and saying it. Because one of the tough things was there are a bunch of Japanese words that don't come off so easily for us English native speakers. So me saying it over and over again has definitely helped me a lot, and listening to it has helped me a lot. And because you don't realize how much it's actually sticking in your head. I'm not, I don't have to spend hours looking at a textbook just reading it. No, now I have actual phrases that I use in my daily life, like literally my daily life, that I go over. And what has helped me get to where I guess where I'm at now is the phrases I really hone in on. Okay, I'm gonna do this weekend. So how can I talk to this person? How can I use this phrase? And one thing that you speak about that's very helpful is to learn phrases that you actually use. It doesn't make sense to learn phrases that I'm never gonna use. You know,
Yeah,
let's
like
start
this
off.
is a banana or this is a pen.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it definitely has that navigation of using phrases that I use every day has helped me a lot, because whether it's going to the Lawson or Family Mart, or just saying hi to people, or just going out for drinks and just saying basic things to people, these are phrases that I use. So I literally practice those phrases as if I'm walking up and talking to somebody. And then I do it over and over again, over and over again, to the point where now a lot of the phrases that I've gone over, it just automatically comes out without thinking about it. So I'll say certain things and it just comes out. And I'm like, later on, I'll be like, oh, wow, yeah, I did know that. Like, it's become like a natural thing. And me seeing that progress is what gets me even more and more motivated to just keep going and keep going and keep learning, and to keep that gas on the pedal.
So like so far, do you have like any, favorite phrases you use often? Do you have any favorite phrases so far?
Oh, favorite phrases? Let's see. One thing that I use an example. My son, his teacher wanted to have drinks. So after class, I went over a phrase. After class, I used it, and I loved it. I said, "Nomi ni ikimashou," and he was like, yeah, let's go. I said, "Itsu aitemasu ka?" And he was like, shumatsu aitemasu. And I'm like, okay, ikimashou. And he was like, yeah, ikimashou. And so I would say ikimashou is a because when we say it, it gets like really
Yeah, let's
excited
go.
when they say it. Yeah, let's go. And so that has been one that I use to just when I meet people. All right, hey, let's go have drinks. That phrase is something that's very common, and especially if you want to go out meet new people. I love meeting new people now. I love talking to people all the time, and like strangers, if we're just out, I just say, like, hey, like konnichiwa, genki desu ka? Like, genki desu. And it's like, anata no nomae nanten desu ka? And I'll say the name, and it's DeShaun desu. 仕事、Kadena Kichi 働いてます. And like, oh, すごい. So just, I love all the phrases I use them all the time. All the phrases I learn, I pick different things from them and use them different ways. Oh, I can use this phrase with this word. And you start to realize, oh, this is actually fun. Like and people get surprised and they love the fact that you are learning or trying. And now I'm still far from perfect, but I love the progression. I definitely enjoy it.
Are you expat? Live in Japan? You started living in Japan, you're super excited to communicate with locals. You can enjoy traveling, meeting people. And then you start using this textbook and you feel like, wow, that's so many. Elementary school textbook, another elementary school textbook, and how many hours should you study? Let's think one more time. In order to communicate like a normal guy, you can do everything in the basic everyday life, should you finish all those textbooks? Otherwise, you won't understand what they're talking. You cannot express yourself, anything. First of all, there are always two ways to learn languages. One is documentational language. The other one is conversational language. It's like, once upon a time, grandmother and grandfather are living somewhere. Or, hey, what's up? How's it going? Which is conversational. What is the most effective way to learn how to speak Japanese? Textbooks can't talk to you, so you cannot improve your listening skill and pronunciation, how to communicate. So why Japanese children can speak Japanese so quickly? Because they are learning conversational Japanese. The good news is, in Japan Language Factory, we have a specific learning structure to improve your conversational Japanese. So you can join the conversation, you can understand what they're talking, you can respond quickly, and express what you are thinking. If you want to be able to speak Japanese as soon as possible, join our free consultation to figure out what is the fastest way to start speaking Japanese.